Hey everybody, it's Rhett and Javier at WarPony Tactical. Big show today. Big show today. All these modular pistols we've been talking about. We're going to take a deep dive off into the Sig P320 today.
Exactly. Now, we took your feedback from the last video. We had some sound quality issues with that, and so we're actually doing this video for the third time now in an attempt to try and get this narrowed down here. As you can probably tell, Rhett's got his microphone piece up in his hat. I've got mine down on my chain, and so hopefully this solves the problem. We'll get this, when we play it back on our computer, it sounds great, but we'll get these uploaded and we'll get feedback from you guys to see what that quality looks like, and we'll see if we get that fixed. But yeah, as we mentioned in episode number 1, we want to start talking about our first series around modular pistols, and the first one being the key element to all of this, like the godfather, and that is the Sig P320. And if you want to take a look at that gun, here it is, right here. This is the Sig P320. Again, like we mentioned earlier, when we talk about modular pistols, we're talking about the chassis system. It's something that we got confused with when we started looking at what modular was looking like, especially when the pistol trials were coming out with the United States Army and them looking for their new gun. Several producers and manufacturers submitted their pistols to be in that, and when we talked about modular, they were looking at things that made things adjustable on the gun, but it really was limited. I think the Glock, you can only adjust the back straps to fit pistol grips, and that was about it when I looked at what modular was. Oh, and you could have the optic plate, you can change your optic side out. But Sig came in with something that no one had ever seen before, and that is with this piece here. With this singular chassis system, the serial number, which makes a gun legal, is imprinted on this steel frame, and that is the legal gun. A lot similar to the AR-15, where your lower receiver, you can purchase a lower receiver, not have to predetermine what caliber, what style, pistol, rifle, things like that. You don't have to make those determinations right away. And once you do, you can go ahead and modify that in a plethora of ways.
Because a lot of times on the lowers it will say caliber and then it'll say multi.
Correct.
It's kind of just like this. It's endless what kind of guns you could come up with, right, just by using that FCU.
Right. With this single FCU, if we're just talking calibers for a moment, the Sig P320 is available in 9mm, 40 Smith & Wesson, 357 Sig, 45 ACP, and 10mm. And all of those can be fired with that single fire control unit. So no matter where you're at in the game, you have just a huge option of what it comes down to. Rhett and I were watching a video recently, or actually I think a documentary on the Sig company, and they were talking about the P320. And when we talk about the number of combinations you can come up with, the number they presented was 680,000 variants of the weapon that can be produced by making out these various changes to the Sig P320.
And that's a lot of different options.
That's a lot of different options.
You got to have a plan and draw it up, and before anything you can imagine, you can make it happen on these pistols.
Exactly. And the best part of this is that whether you're a novice shooter or a professional shooter, this can be adjusted to meet your needs no matter where you're at in the shooting game. And also no matter what it is you want to do with that. If you're looking in self-defense, everyday carry, sports shooting like 3-gun competition, if you're looking at tactical, obviously there's the military variant. And if you just like to build things tactical, then you can obviously go ahead and make some adjustments to this firearm as you see fit. Some of the best things that we've seen on the market for the Sig P320 with all these variables in place are things similar to like putting them in a chassis system such as the Flux Raider. This is a chassis that the Sig P320 fire control unit fits in.
So instead of this, they put the same FCU into that.
Exactly. And this allows you, first off, you do have a longer slide, longer barrel. When we talk about accuracy, when we talk about what it takes to make that round go down further range with better accuracy, usually the first solution people come up with is a longer barrel if you're working just iron sights. Then eventually you move up to some sort of optic. And then the thing is, how do you make sure the weapon is going to stay in place to stay that shot? And that's where the Flux Raider comes in. It has the brace. You can get this SBR'd You can fill out the form and get the serial number for this chassis system, so you can put a brace on here. But it allows you to brace up on your shoulder or however you legally brace, and make that long distance shot. So, that's just one opportunity there with the Sig P320. Other things also included in that. Here I have my competition piece. As you can see, I'm running the longer barrel, the 4.5 inch with a Wilson Combat grip. Because it's for my competition piece, I'm not worried about it not looking very tactical and color-wise. So I've got the bright blue titanium on the grip, Swamp Fox green dot. Other things that are on this weapon that aren't standard is it does have a Gray Guns trigger system in it. Went ahead and upgraded that for competition. Really light trigger pull. The sear and its functioning is really quick. And then I'm testing out. I say I'm testing out. It's been on there for 5 years now and it has worked excellent. Is the Swamp Fox green dot Liberator, or this one's the Liberty, and it's just been a great gun for that purposes. And then on top of that, I think I have a 1911 recoil spring system in this as well. So a couple things, but again, had I gone out and bought this gun as is without the fire control unit, you could be looking at spending somewhere around $1,500 to $1,800 for a competition pistol right out the bat. Whereas I had the fire control unit already, and so buying the multiple things around it, I was under $1,000 on building out a competition piece.
And it's exactly what you want.
And it's exactly what I want. And the best part too is, if I was limited on funds or if I was limited on space, I can simply go ahead, pull the fire control unit out of this, stick it into my everyday carry, and then the same gun that I use for competition, I can use for my everyday pistol as well.
The cool thing about that is if you are short on funds, buy the FCU this month, buy the grip next month. You can't get it all at once, but within a couple of months, you can have a fantastic firearm.
Exactly. Like our buddy Kenny said, buy once, cry once. So when you go ahead and you just purchase something that's on the shelf that you don't really want, but you want to get into the game, sometimes you find yourself in this awkward place where you are going to spend $300 to $500 on pistol, and then you're going to spend several hundreds of dollars to upgrade that. Whereas with the 320, you're going to spend a little money on that fire control unit. But the thing is that now there are manufacturers out there that are solely in the business of building parts for the Sig P320. And so you can find things at a fair rate that are of high quality, and you can piece it out little by little. And so then instead of settling for a gun, you can build out within a fair short amount of time, you can build out the gun that you exactly want and that exactly fits your need. Because the last thing you want to do is purchase a full-size gun and be like, oh man, like I want this to be my concealed carry. And as you're walking around, you've got this bulge on your hip, or better yet, you can't sit down properly because you're trying to appendix carry a full-size gun. You don't want that to happen. But whether you're on the budget end of your pistol or if you're on the higher end. For example, Rut, you've got your 320 here.
I did bring my 320, and like I said, I started with an FCU and started with just a regular grip. Then I upgraded recently to this AXG grip, which is fantastic. It looks similar, but it's not. It's aluminum. It's a little heavier, and you can also change out the panels to like the cherry wood that are really cool looking. My slide is Pro Cut. It's there. Yeah, you can see that right there. It's already milled out, which makes it a little bit lighter. I have the threaded barrel on there, and then a CCW Vortex red dot, which makes it very nice. But it's a little bit heavier with that aluminum grip. The felt recoil, it knocks it down. It's just a nice gun, and I have done a M Carbo Springs kit on this, so the trigger is very, very nice. Reset is very short and crisp.
I wonder what that's compared to. You've got the M Carbo trigger on there. I've got the Gray Guns. Get yours cocked up there. Let me get this in the hand and see what the difference here feels like. Let's go ahead and get a little intimate with our triggers here. So here I've got the pull on that seems to be about the same. And right here I'm at the brake, and they seem very similar. So here, why don't you go ahead and give that a shot there. feel almost the same.
They do. Interesting.
And I'll tell you this, when I don't train enough on my competition piece, that Gray Guns trigger compared to a factory trigger on my other 320s, you can feel the difference. And sometimes I've got to warn myself before I get back out on the range with my competition piece, like, hey, remember, you've got a competition trigger in this, fart too loud and it's going to go ahead and set itself off. So yeah, the 320 is outstanding. So one of the best things about it, like we said, the modularity of this pistol is you can make adjustments to your pistol grip. Right off the bat, you can buy direct from Sig. They offer it in several different sizes when it comes from the grip length. This would go ahead and give you in the width of it. So you can get small, medium, or large. But the other thing about it is you can get it in compact, subcompact, or full size. And that would go ahead and have some effect on whether or not you're going to go ahead and carry 15 rounds, 17 rounds. And if you do like a little stubby at the bottom, you can hold up to 21 rounds. For instance, like on the Flux Raider, they have longer ones.
30 round mags.
30 round mags, exactly.
And even on this chassis, you can adjust the back strap.
Right. And so even with the AXG model, again, though, too, like on the competition piece, we have the Wilson Combat Grip. And that's great because the stippling on that and the narrowness and the flared magwell allow it to be perfect for whether it's for tactical purposes or competition. You can go ahead and use that for a number of purposes. The other thing we really like about this is you can go ahead and switch out the mag release, whether you're left-handed or right-handed. Again, I'm left-handed. Rut is pretty comfortable with both hands. And so this way, no matter what direction or what grip you're going for, you can go ahead and switch that out. One thing I do have to warn everyone when they do get a chance to shoot on some of my guns, hey, everything's on the other side, so you need to go ahead and make adjustments for that, which is great, though, because a lot of people nowadays, I think you're going to see a huge trend of people who are now training to be, if you're, like, say you're in close quarters, you're within your home, and you need to be able to switch cover from side to side, and you need to switch your weapon. You want to make sure that all those controls are available to you on either side of the gun. And so that's why we tend to, like with our AR builds and when we build other pistols like 320 and 365s for our customers and clients, we try to always encourage them, like, hey, you may just want to spend a little extra money.
As many ambi parts on it as we
can. Yeah, exactly. The other great thing about this grip is that the angle of this grip is much different from the prevalent Glock angled grip. What it is when you pick this thing up, and what's most noted about the 320 for novice shooters is this is I can pick this up, I can point it, and the bullet goes right where I'm pointing the gun. Whereas if you're familiar with Glock style grips, it has a cant to it that is similar to like the M16 A2 grips or M4 A2 grips that you see on standard model ARs. And that was typical of the old style shooting where you learn from grandpa. You're shooting from the side and you've got your grip here, kind of like a standard rifle, your basic like M1 Garand or something like that, or grandpa's old 243, Winchester or whatever that was. But nowadays, when we talk about shooting on the AR platform being the most popular one, you're looking at more of a front angled tactical shoot. And with that, if your AR is in front of you and you're engaging targets in front of you, if your hand is canted with that grip, you're going to have an awkward grip. It's going to be awkward on the wrist. It's going to be awkward on the trigger pull. And so what they've done with a lot of AR-15 platforms now is like the BCM grips and all those now have a different style angle. And that is more of a straight vertical grip. And I think you're going to see that with the Sig P320. And whether you find yourself purchasing an AXG grip, a Wilson Combat, an Icarus grip, or anything like that, you're going to see that and feel that right away. And so, once you're if you're a novice shooter, this is one of those deals where you can pick up and shoot straight ahead, and you're going to be on target. It's something you'll be very comfortable with right away. A lot of Glock shooters that have trained with the Sig 320 really like this feature. However, their training over the last 10, 20 years has them still going towards staying on with their Glocks. And so, and that's fine. Like if you're doing one thing over and over and over again, if that repetition has led you to train this way and you feel comfortable with that and your level of accuracy is there, then roll with that. There's no reason to make that change.
I think a good way, if somebody wanted to get into the 320 game and we even experimented with it a little bit, looking for the flux raters. Is fine. Is getting the LEO trade-ins. If you look online, you can get those pretty cheap. And then you've got an FCU. You can get those almost as much as you can get just the FCU. And then you can start shooting it, practicing with it, and then you can start changing out parts around it if that'd be one way to get into the 320 platform.
The other thing I like about the budgeting when it comes to the 320 is like me personally, I love my concealed carry, everyday carry. I like to carry 357 Sig. It's a round that I trust, that I feel comfortable with. But the thing is, though, is ammunition, finding training ammunition and finding self-defense ammunition, 357 Sig. One, sometimes can be tough, and two, can be pricey. So what I love about the 320 platform is I can take my 9mm slide, throw it on my 320, train with this, and put a couple hundred rounds down range. And then after that, I can go ahead and simply switch out to my 357 Sig slide, which is the same barrel length, same slide length. I can go ahead and shoot 50 rounds of 357 Sig just to make sure that I'm right where I need to be, that I trained with that 9mm. And so my training budget is now in the positive.
Right, and it's going to be the same weight, almost identical to the.
You're going to feel that same style. You may see like the recoil impulse and things like that may be a little bit different. But the thing is that that's one of those benefits. I can train on this weapon, get a very close feel with several hundreds of rounds that are affordable in the 9mm range, because you can find those cheap just about anywhere post-COVID.
Right.
But the 357 Sig is still not as popular when it comes to practice rounds and defense rounds. And so with that said, I can go ahead and use fewer of my ammo stockpile,
right, and
carry that 357 Sig the way I want to. So I don't have to put as many rounds down range and waste that money. But yeah, the accessibility of, as you can see from the slide, whether you're going from a full-length slide or you're going to a subcompact, or you can see we've got the compact slide. So you're looking at 3.1, 3.6, 3.9, and the 4 or 4.5, I think. You can see this huge variable. They're prepared to go either way, whether you want to go ahead and get threaded barrels so you can be suppressor ready, or if you want to thread your barrel so you can get a compensator placed on the front end, which would help with your shooting and recoil rise and things like that. These things help out a great deal, and that's just kind of the joy of the Sig. You can do all these things. You can make it tactical, because I think if you got a gun that you like, that you enjoy its appearance, then I think you're more encouraged to go out and shoot. If you don't like it, you're not all that encouraged to shoot. The other thing too is, no matter what your body type is, whether your frame is, what your muscle dexterity is, you can find something and make adjustments to this firearm that is going to suit your physical, your mental, all your personal needs can be fixed with 320 and what's out there on the market as far as
some
parts go.
Some accessories.
Exactly. And now with that said, we got two things we'd like to mention. Is one, most of these changes to your Sig P320 you can do on your own. There are lots of videos out there on various platforms where you can go ahead and make all the adjustments you need to this, whether it is putting on an optic, whether it's taking out the FCU and putting it into a new grip, whether it's changing out the barrel and the slide and things like that. All these things you can probably do on your own. But when you get to the fire control unit, this is where the complexity of this firearm is. And there are maybe one or two things on this that I would feel comfortable saying that you can probably navigate when it comes to maybe changing out the trigger and the slide release. These things are pretty easy to go ahead and do on your own. However, when you get into the other mechanisms and the trigger sear and all those things like that, I highly recommend seeking out a gunsmith to get these taken care of. Now, most likely, you don't need to mess with that at all. But if you're going to, now, if you are comfortable and you are familiar with firearms, it may be something. I guarantee there are plenty of instructional videos out there that can allow you to go ahead and tackle that.
Any part you're going to buy, they usually send it standard now, is
right,
the instructional video to go with you to help with the install of that.
Exactly. But again, for safety purposes, it is one of those deals where if you're not familiar with firearms, or you're just at the novice or intermediate range, It's one of those deals that we highly recommend taking that FCU in and getting that taken care of professionally, or at the very least, if you do want to challenge yourself, go ahead and make the adjustments yourself, but spend a little money. Most gunsmiths and gun shops that do have trained professionals, I think for a small fee, they're willing to go ahead and inspect your weapon to make sure it's all good to go. And so that is something we highly recommend. The last thing, with all the positives we've talked about, there are some negatives that we do need to make sure that you, the consumer, is aware of everything.
At least one, anyway.
And so, and that is, it has been in the news for the last actually couple of years that the Sig P320 has had accidental discharges, whether it be from dropping the weapon at a particular angle and it discharging to it just discharging on its own in the holster. Now, one of the things we do want to mention is in the 5+ years that we've owned 320s and have modified them in every which way, we have had 0 incidents of our own. Now, that isn't for us to say that that's a vote of confidence that you should take away from us. But the thing is that in our experience, we've had 0 issues. In addition to that, we've done
thousands of rounds.
Right, thousands of rounds down range. Some testing, we've tried dropping these. We saw a video where someone took a bunch of 9mm brass, put primer caps in them, and went ahead and loaded them in the gun and tried to drop it and encourage a misfire. And we did the same, and we could not get the gun to go off on its own. I'm inside my safe. I've got a 320 with a round chambered in a safe direction. But the thing is, though, is that in the 3 years it's been sitting there loaded, it has never gone off. And it's a factory Sig P320. So at this point, on our personal level, there's a great deal of confidence. Other things that were that have been said to be the cause of misfire is improper holstering. I think the most popular tactical holster on the market is Farland holsters, and they did have one for the 320. They noticed that with law enforcement typically having a flashlight on the front end of their gun, when you're obviously practicing safety, you keep your finger out of the trigger well. But as you put it into this Farland holster, the gap that is created by making that holster just a bit wider to fit the flashlight, people's fingers were going into the holster. Obviously, your natural reaction once you pinch your finger is to try and pull it out. But the thing is, though, is once you go into the holster, the only place for your finger to go is inside the trigger guard. And if you were trying to pull your hand out to escape the pain, you're going to engage that trigger and you're going to discharge that weapon. And so that has been something we've seen as well.
There are also operator error on that one.
Yeah, so I would think operator error. When we talk about the original factory issue with the trigger, what they were saying was that the trigger was, the metal of the trigger was too much weight, and when you drop this at the exact perfect angle that physics would allow the weight of that trigger to go ahead and drop down and engage the weapon, and that would cause the discharge.
Which must have been pretty exact because it didn't happen very often.
Right, no. And the other thing, too, is Sig went ahead and saw this issue, did a recall, and switched out all those triggers. They were heavy curved triggers. As you can see now, like with this particular one, we've got it skeletonized from Sig. You've got another one that came standard with the FCU he purchased, and it's skeletonized and hollow out in the back. And so they've done a great deal to solve that issue. Gray Guns offers a thin, flat trigger. And so people have solved, I think, that issue. Now, there are several videos out there, and there are actually, as of recent, a couple of the 3-letter agencies that do carry the Sig 320 are now going to be switching out to a different pistol. But the military still has some level or vote of confidence in this, so I think that speaks a great deal. When we talk about testing, the primary testing and the money behind the government that supports all that testing, that law enforcement follows, and then eventually the average citizen follows, is accomplished by the military. So I think that there's still some level of confidence that I don't plan to stop carrying my 320.
No, it's definitely my favorite pistol. I like it.
But yeah, to keep you informed of what's going on, it's only fair that we mention that as well. So yeah, the Sig 320 has as the grandfather of the chassis system, has made way for others to enter into the market. Sig went ahead and entered in with its second chassis system, the Sig P365, which is now the most popular and purchased subcompact concealed carry gun on the market worldwide for I think the last 5 or 6 years running. And even with that, the chassis for this particular gun has become so popular, and just like the 320, there's so many people out of the market building things for it now that it is no longer just a subcompact gun. You're going to see it on the market with full-size barrels, bigger grips. Rut has the Sig P365 fuse, correct?
Right.
And
17 standard, 21 round mags that come with that.
Exactly. When you talk about subcompact back in the day, you're looking at anywhere from 5 to 9 rounds max on 9mm, and the heavier rounds you went up even less.
6 or 7.
And then when Sig came out with the 365, they modified their grips and they modified their magazines to a point where it allowed them to go ahead and fit 12 to 15 rounds in those small magazines and really entered them into a new market. And so now you can see several others kind of matching that, but at the same time though, they're not chassis system guns. And again, if you are really wondering and want to dive into what the difference is here, just think about this. If you purchase a Glock, typically your serial number is going to be located underneath the grip here on the front end. And with that said, is if you decide that you need to change this out, whether it be for size, comfort, length, or anything like that, you have to purchase and fill out a whole new 4473 form and to purchase a whole nother piece legally. And so that creates an issue, because now if you decide to no longer use that one that you had prior to that, you literally technically have a gun sitting there doing nothing, and it's a very expensive paperweight.
Right, and we're not bashing Glock at all. I mean, I have 3 or 4 myself, but like a Glock 45 is a 9mm. A Glock 19 is a millimeter. A Glock 17 is a 9mm.
Yeah.
Those are all the same, but they're different pistols.
So Glock has found a way to kind of narrow the market. Like, hey, you can like this gun, but if you want it in a different format, we're going to sell you a completely new gun.
We're going to put a new number
and
on it.
We'll put a new number on it. And then with the gen models, like I literally see people out there that are like, I've got to have gens 1 through 5. Do you even shoot your gen 1? No. Do you shoot gen 2? No. Do you shoot gen 3? No. But my gen 5 is my everyday carry. Well, what are you doing with the other 4? They look great in my safe. Okay, great.
You can turn your Gen 1 FCU here into a Gen 5. There is no gens on the Sig system.
Right. About the only variants that you'll see now is that you'll see nowadays, they're not Gen 2s, but they kind of sometimes refer to them as the Gen 2s. The FCUs now pretty much come standard with the flat trigger,
right,
instead of the curve, and so
which you do have to have if you're interested in making a fluctuator.
Yeah,
it has to have that flat.
Got to have that flat trigger. But yeah, as you can see, the variables and the number of different things that you can do with the 320 is almost limitless. Right. It's limitless, and so whether, like I said, whether you're a beginning shooter or a professional shooter, whether you're into sports shooting or tactical defense, the Sig 320 is obviously something that's going to go ahead and give you that opportunity and have that range to do whatever you like. And you can go with factory parts, you can go with aftermarket parts. They're just a wide range of things that you can do. If you are interested in a Sig P320, you can always give us a holler, or any advice on that, just give us a holler. You can reach out in the comments here down below, or you can find us on WarPony Tactical on Facebook. If you like today's episode, make sure you hit the like and subscribe. And as always, did we remember what
we still don't know?
I think it's
educate for sure.
Educate, train, defend,
and they're free.
Stand free.
Stand free. Freedom!
Yeah! Do 4 things. Go out there, be a good American, and God bless
America.